Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Welcome to Card Making Fundamentals and welcome to the Fall Build-A-Gnome Classroom. We are going to create with lesson kit number 1. Happy Friday to you all. We're going to jump in and get started. First we're going to take out our lesson kit. If you guys are new to the classroom, your lesson kits are always in the newsletter package. So we're going to grab our very first lesson kit. And then we're going to need a few supplies to go with this for the classroom. You're going to need some inks. For today's project, we're just going to use our dark brown ink. I'm using Memento Rich Cocoa, and we'll set that aside. We're going to need that. We might need some glue. We have glue that came with our lesson kit, but just in case, I have some glue. We're also going to need a craft pick, a little jewel tool. This is a wax pencil that came in a previous kit. You're going to need that. We're going to need tweezers, an acrylic block to stamp our sentiment today, and I think that's all we need for today's classroom. Some pretty basic supplies. So we're going to put these aside and we're going to jump in, and I think what we're going to do first for all of our lessons is build our gnomes. So let's go ahead and open our package up here. We're going to take everything out. Keep your packaging because your card and envelope will fit in here. And we're going to set our paper supplies aside and open up our little goodie bag here. This has all of our gnome pieces. Now there's some small hands. I would say for the most part the nose and the hands are the smallest pieces in our little small embellishment bag. So you want to be careful not to lose those. So I'm just going to separate. Oh, also the coffee cup. There's some very small. You wouldn't think that these little small pieces would add a lot of detail, but they kind of really do for your coffee mug. Now I'm zooming in and I'm kind of separating all of these. You have two little heart gems. You have this little funny looking piece. Now I included in all of our lesson kits, I included 2 gnomes for each one. So you're actually you have the potential to build 8 gnomes. So you'll have extra in case you want to create some extra cute little gnome guys. I actually made an extra one here. Let me show you. Oh, his nose fell off, but let me show you this one. And this one. I have it on my craft desk, but I made these ones. These are my sample ones, but I put flowers on the hats. He's missing a nose, so a nose would actually go here. But with the flower on the hat, go through your stickers or your dies, and you could put a cute little flower on the hat to create a cute little effect also. So I included, in all of your gnomes, all 4 of your gnomes are different. The hats are kind of the same style. One will go left, one will go right. Some have small polka dots, some have large, but I'm rambling again, aren't I? So, but I included 2. So you have 2 of each die cut piece, and we only need 1. So let's separate these. So just put one in an extra pile. You have a coffee lid, a coffee. Which one does this one go to? You also get the nose, the hands. You'll put a set aside here. A coffee cup. This little white piece. You can set that aside. You have the coffee lid gray accent pieces. We'll put that aside too. So we're just going to, there's 2 little flowers too. I'm going to put one aside. So you can replay the video if you want to build another gnome. But I'm going to put my extra gnome back in the bag here. It's always nice to have extra because too, if you mess up, extra is always nice. To build a gnome, it's pretty simple. we're going to start with our coffee cup here. We have this little white piece I created, so this is a base to where we know where to put the hands and where to put the lid of our coffee cup. So we'll start by taking our printed coffee cup. We're going to flip it around, break out your fundamental, your sticker might lift up, but break out your glue, which you're going to love, I promise. Twist it. For those, mine has been used before. Let me grab some scratch paper. So what you're going to do is twist it probably quite a bit until you see a blob of glue coming out at the very top. And you can kind of flatten the bristles a little bit. There we go. And then once that glue comes out, you can kind of flatten it. You can see you have it this way. You can kind of see a little bit of a point. There's the flat end. Okay, what we're going to do is flip over our pattern paper coffee cup, add some glue behind it, and then we're going to adhere this over that white. This is going to give it a little stability too. So we have the two edges hanging over. After we have this done, I like this because it really is a nice little guide. Next we're going to take our gray coffee lid. I'm going to use my glue and add some adhesive to the very top of my pattern paper. This is where your jewel tool or your wax pencil will come in handy. Pick that up and place that on top of your coffee mug. You may need to flip it around to make sure it lines up. So far, so good. Okay, now we have these two gray pieces. We're gonna take the bottom one, and this is so the smiley face is going up. Flip it around, add some adhesive behind here. I'm gonna use some scratch paper because I don't want to get my craft mat all dirty. But we add some adhesive, and then we can add this to the very bottom of our coffee cup. Like so. We'll do the same with our next piece. With our next piece, again, the smiley face. I'm calling it a smile because it has a little bit of an arch. So you're going to just think of a smile when you add it to your cup here. I'm going to flip it on the reverse side, add some more adhesive. Don't you love this little pen? I think this is so neat. And then we'll add this almost to the top. You want a little bit, you're going to line up the left and right. You're going to leave a little bit of a gap between that bottom piece that we added, and then you can create the little almond shape on top. So that's where that piece goes. Okay. After we have this done, we have our little cup cozy. And you want the smaller, the narrower part on the very bottom. We'll flip this around. Need a little bit more glue. So I'm just turning this. And then we'll add our cup cozy. Add this over, and basically in the middle of our coffee mug, like so. Okay. And if you leave the cap off and your brushes dry out, the glue in here is water soluble. I don't think these are refillable, but the glue in here is water soluble, so put it in warm water until the fibers of your brush resoften. That's if you leave the cap off. If you put I've tried these for a long time now, and before I put them in the kits, I want to make sure that they worked really well. Keep the cap on, and it keeps the brushes moist too. So after we have our cup cozy adhered, I'm going to add my flour. Probably need a little more glue. Okay. That's going to go in the middle of our cup cozy. Like so. And then, if you want to use your glue for this part, you can, or you can just use your glue brush. But I'm going to add some glue directly to the white area on our coffee cup piece. And then we can add our little hands. You put one to the left, and then we'll put one to the right. So it looks like he's holding our coffee cup. And our coffee mug is done. So cute. Almost done. We have to embellish it, but that will be in just a minute. And I have a hand left over. You may have extra hands. If I have extra hands, I'll throw them in the bag. Okay, now we have these 4 pieces left. What we're going to do next is take our polka dot hat, and we're going to put some adhesive behind here. Before you do that, make sure you know which is the right side. So this is the right side that will layer on top of this base. So then you just want to flip it around and then add some glue behind here. I don't know, maybe it's the clicking sound that I like with the glue. I don't know, but I like this. Okay, and then we can go ahead and layer our polka dots. It should line up all along our base. So our hat is wonderful. And then we have, this is our little beard. You'll notice on all of the gnomes that all of the little beard pieces are different. We're going to flip this around. Actually, before we flip it around, we want to make sure that this is the right side. So you see these little hairs that are on the left and right? If you were to flip this around and line it up, it should match up perfectly. See, I had it backwards earlier. So make sure it's the right side and then flip it over. Using our foam circles, we'll add 2. And then we can remove our release paper. And then we'll just add this. Over our gnome, lining it up. So our feet will stay brown, but we had the guide to help us for the placement. I love that. Now what we're going to do is take over our coffee mug. We're going to flip this around, and I'm going to add 1 foam square behind here. I like these foam, I call it a foam square, but clearly it's a circle. Okay, but I'm going to put 1 foam circle behind here, and then this is going to go almost to the middle of our beard, like so. We'll place that on there. And then we have our little nose. Nose, that's where the little small foam squares come in handy. I'll take 1 of these, and then we'll add 1 behind our nose. And then I'll remove the release paper here. And then we can add this at the halfway mark. Halfway, This is going to go halfway on the beard, halfway on the hat. And I just think this is so cute. Now I'm going to put my lid back on my brush here. Now using my craft pick, I'm going to take one of my hearts and we're going to place that in the center of our coffee cup, in the center of our flower on our coffee cup, to add a little bit of bling, a little more dimension, and then our gnome is good to go. We are going to go ahead and take this and flip it around, and I apologize for my phone, and I'm going to add some foam circles behind here. I'm not going to remove the release paper just yet. We'll do that when we finish our card base. So this is an extra little heart I'm going to put back with my extra gnome. And then we're going to continue with the rest of our card here. Now what we're going to do is take our pattern paper. Now this is paper. This is not cardstock. Sometimes I'll put in cardstock, but this is actually paper. So it's on the thinner side. So we're going to do a little bit of layering with this. We'll start with our largest piece, which is the teal colored pattern paper. For this we're going to use our tape runner. So we'll take this and we're going to add some adhesive. This is really sticky adhesive, and if you don't want to go along the entire back, like drag it, like normally with my regular tape runner I'll go all along all the four sides, but when it's really sticky, if you just want to lightly tack the corners, it'll stretch further. And one thing about the KI adhesive runner is it's not forgiving. So once it's down for good. So we are going to reinforce that card base, make sure it opens on the right side. This is going to leave me a little bit of a border. So I'll line up the very top first. And once I know it's even, the rest should follow. Wonderful. So our pattern paper for this is adhered. And now with these, we're going to do a little bit of layering. We are going to take our red, this is heavy duty cardstock. We're going to take our light blue or teal colored polka dot pattern paper. I'm going to lightly tack this to our red cardstock. This is going to give us the stability that we need when we add our ribbon. And okay, I think that looks good. Next, we're going to take our ribbon and we're going to wrap it around the bottom of this panel. I love this ribbon because it looks really thick, but it's thin and it creates really wonderful knots. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a knot with it, but the knot is going to go about 3/4 of an inch from the left side here. So I'll tie it and then I hold the middle with my finger, then wrap around it. And then we can just create a pretty knot. And if you don't have it exactly positioned where you want it, no worries, because you can always slide it. We're going to use, I don't think I mentioned that we need scissors, so break out your scissors. I'm so sorry. Sometimes my supply list is learned as I create the cards. Okay, now we're going to, instead of going at an angle, I decided since our stripes are vertical, that it's just going to go straight cut to create a bow like this. And if you need to reposition where your bow is, it's very easy to do. All you do is take your panel, hold it, kind of bow it a little bit like this, and then it will slide left and right until you get to the place you want it, and then you can kind of push it back in its place. That's the best way to reposition the bows. Okay, so this is done. I'm going to flip this around now, making sure this is straight. We're going to take our tape runner, add some more adhesive on the back side. And then this is going to go on our orange pattern paper, centering this. Now that we have this done, we're going to flip this around, and then using our foam squares, there's 4 of them in our kit. We're going to add them to all the corners of this panel. And it's raining over here today. We have some we have thunderstorm warnings. And so you may be able to hear the rain. But I'm going to remove the release paper off of our foam squares. And then this is, excuse me, this is going to go in the center of our card base. So we have a little bit of dimension, but not too much. It's still pretty flat. Okay, now I have 2 banners, because of course I should say not we, but sometimes I don't get it centered, my sentiment centered on banners, so I have a backup just in case. The nice thing about these is you can flip it around, so you have 4 chances to make a straight sentiment. And speaking of sentiments, let's grab our stamp set. And for this card, we're going to stamp the sentiment that says, I like me a little bit more when I'm with you. I think that's just so cute. So let's find that. And I got it here. We'll put this on an acrylic block. You might want to rub it a little bit to kind of season your stamp for brand new. And this is a photopolymer acrylic stamp. This is from Paper Tray Ink. I just love their stamp sets. They're quality. Now what we're going to do is take our rich cocoa ink, or any of your favorite brown ink will work. You don't have to use this particular brand, but I'm going to use Memento Rich Cocoa ink. It goes really well with the color of our ribbon. I'm going to ink up my sentiment, and I'm going to stamp all the way to the left as much as I can center it. And I did really good. I'm proud of myself. I stamped it first time as a charm. I need to buy a lottery ticket because that doesn't happen very often. Neither does buying lottery tickets. So anyways, I'm going to take this end. Oops, I got ink. I'm going to actually, let's clean off our stamp. So don't you love our little towels? Super neat. Now, I do want to say, if you use the pouch for storage, you might want to leave a little bit open so air can come in through here, because I sealed mine up, and since I created my unboxing a month ago, I did notice an icky smell that was in here. So I added a little bit of some bleach cleaner to clean out my Ziploc bag. But maybe this is not the best storage solution. Temporarily, yes, but not long term, just to let you know. You don't want no fungus or smells coming from your bag. So let's go ahead and take our cleaner. I moistened it with water. If you guys want to go ahead and take your little towel, which these are not edible, keep these away from your pets, because or kids, because they do look like candy, but they're not. Okay, that's why there's a huge warning on the back. Okay, these are keep these away up high, but keep them in your Ziploc bag actually, to keep them safe and away from children. But they are the neatest things, I promise. They're so cute, and they're reusable. They're cotton, so they are reusable. But I'm going to clean off my sentiment here. I'm going to put this back. Otherwise I will lose it. And then we have, I did smudge it a little bit. I don't know if the camera can tell you. Yeah, you can see it right here. But I'm not worried about it. You know why? Because my gnome is going to cover it up. I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to add some adhesive behind it. And then this is going to go, the edge here is going to line up with our pattern paper all the way to the left. So you don't want to go all the way to the card base. You want to go up to the pattern paper. And you're going to go just above our ribbon. I think that's a good spot. These are going to overhang, but I don't think that's a big deal. If you wanted to use your extra foam, you can. You can probably quarter it. Oops. And then add a piece underneath here. So we have extra for that. That way it's nice and even. And if you want to do the same thing to this side, you can. So you have that extra piece. Okay, now we're going to take our gnome. We already put foam circles behind here. We'll just remove our release paper. And then we'll place our gnome just above the knot. Actually, just right next to our sentiment is a better place for that here. Right next to our sentiment. Okay, now after we have this done, we're going to go to our embellishment pack. Mine are all separated because I had to do this during the unboxing. But you're going to take 2 of your leaves. And I want my brown one and my red one. I'm going to add some adhesive behind my brown leaf. These are no shed glitter, which is really nice. And then I'm going to tuck one to the right of my gnome. I'm not going to press down just yet. We're going to play with our placement. And then I'm going to add my next one. For this, if you wanted to use your glue, you could. We're going to overlap them both, and then once I'm happy with the placement, I have it just overlapping our sentiment too. I can press down really good and adhere those. And of course, if you want to use glue, you can. Now after we have this done, we are going to use some sequins. For these, this is where your glue will come in handy. Let me grab one of my little trays. What I like to do is place my sequins first, and for this card I think I'm going to use more oranges. Oranges and golds. Warm golds. There's 2 different colors of golds. And I'll add one over here. And we'll add a warm gold on the end of our sentiment. And I think we're going to add one just below the... No, let's keep that plain. So we're going to use 5 sequins in total. 3 orange and then 2 of the warmer golds. Once they're placed, I'm going to use my glue. And we'll go ahead and adhere these. It's kind of a big glob of glue, but it will dry clear, which is really nice. Put one on the very end of our sentiment banner. And then I'll just funnel the rest of my sequins back in the bag. And then I have my extra banner. We'll put that back also. along with my foam. Okay, and then that will finish my card today. Such a cute card. This is lesson number 1 of the Fall Build-A-Gnome Classroom. I hope you had so much fun enjoying creating this card. I know I did. I want to bring that down a little bit. I love gnomes, and I think these are so cute, especially if they're holding coffee. I'm a little partial to that. But join me next week for lesson number 2. Lesson number 2, let me find it. We'll be making this card. Love this card. So we'll see you next Friday. And the date for this is October 9th. I can't believe it's September. This year has just flown by. But we'll see you September 9th for lesson number 2. And again, use your envelope, guys, if you have extras, even extra embellishments and stuff. You can actually label these, which are really nice. But keep all your little extras in your little plastic envelope here. It's really nice. But thank you so much for joining me. I wish you a lovely day, and we will see you next Friday for another classroom. Have a great day. Bye-bye.